Okay, I'll call this meeting to order, please. We all join in the pledge of allegiance. Mr. Curry, you lead.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out again this evening. School was underway, and all's right with the world, most of it anyway. We'll start off with the approval of minutes of the August 20, 2013 meeting. Do you have a motion?
I move.
Second. Mr. Smith made the motion, Mr. Wilkerson seconded. Is that an all yes vote?
Yes.
Okay, presentations, we have Derek Christian, the assistant principal at Wayne County High School, and he's going to talk to us about career and technical education. Mr. Christian.
Oh, boy. You know, I'm messing around. Well, this is just kind of a overview of our, I know y'all are interested in what's going on a little bit.
If you want, maybe you can use that podium, whatever feels comfortable for you.
I don't know, I'll try.
Whatever, if you
Feel
don't,
like-
you can stand at attention.
Feel like Pastor Frank here. I never feel this usually.
Well, we'll never get out of here. Go ahead.
But this is just this is based off last year. This was, as you can see, I turned it in at the end of June, or at the end of April. May have been a little bit later than that, but that was what was supposed to have been by the record. They gave us a little extension there. And as you can see, this is our special needs this is all CTE. We have 20.64% special needs, and we're a little bit less than 5% above state average for our amount of students that we have in the state. The non-traditional females and non-traditional males, what that is like male students that would be in a nursing program, or female students who would be in the welding or building construction and auto and electrical. And actually, we don't really meet that, I don't think, basically because we don't offer, for our males, we only have the one health sciences, which is not really much offered there, and for them to be in that. Of course, we do have plenty of females in the other, in the reversal there, as you can see. The dropout rate was 1.7, which is not really that bad. I mean, of course, we don't want any, but you know, that's never probably going to happen. This is kind of misleading, I think, because when you look at our West Test reading and our West Test math, we didn't meet criteria, but if you look down at our work keys, we had in our reading and math, you look at our percentage right down at the bottom there where it says, if you follow me at the bottom there where it says work keys reading, work keys math, everybody see that? I mean, we're at 97% passing rate. So again, to correlate that, you know, until, and I'm preaching to the choir here, until they put some kind of meaning behind the West Test, you're going to get that. Now that just shows you what meaning, with something that has meaning to it, what kids can do. When they know that their job, it's part of their resume on the job, because we've had several employees, that's what they want to see, their work key score. And you know, we passed in all of our areas that way. Global 21, of course that's Educate West Virginia. It's what's called now, which is there's three parts to that. As y'all, I don't know if you're all familiar with that, but it's a written test, it's a hands-on practical test, and then it's a interview process and resume that you bring people in and interview kids, and they get scored and rated on that. So again, that's done by our individual class. Like for Otto, he has his people he brings in, and they interview those kids and those completers. Welding brings in their group of people, and that's how that part of it's done. And we were 93% on that. That's really good. We were 93% placement, which is, actually, we'll get into that in a minute. And the employed was 84%. So we're above, we're meeting the mark. And then that's the continuing education. That's students who continue on and meet and go into what they studied at Lincoln High School. Like if they were in auto, they would go to Northeastern School or whatever. If they were in building trades, they would take something towards that effect in college. So,
Chris, let me just clarify something. These scores and these percentages, are these of just the students that are in these programs, or all the students at the high school?
This is our CT.
Just that?
This is just
Okay.
CT. And if you look, we had 83 completers, and just to jog your memory, we had at last year when I spoke to you, we had a potential 119. So 83 out of 119 were completers. And to be a completer, you have to pass your Educate West Virginia. You have to complete all three of that, and your work keys. So we're going. I mean, I'm still learning, but that's great, really. I mean, we're doing a great job. Our CT staff does a great job of getting our kids. Now, this thing will work on the eyesight a little bit. This blue page, I tried to put on some glue. I tried to blow it up and do a few different things with it. This kind of tells you about our individual programs and where we were with our, again, reading, math, and locating information. That's our work keys. And there's different scores, 6 being the highest and 4 being the lowest. But that really wasn't, I don't think y'all kind of, we had 72%. I don't really understand all that myself yet, but we're meeting the mark, is what I can tell you. We're meeting the mark. The criteria, I think, for reading was 69% maybe by the state. And they haven't come out with this year's, what their goals are this year for us in that. But I think reading was like 69, math was right at 69. Locating information, they're trying to redo that because they're having kids that were scoring, in the high 20s on ACTs, struggling with locating information because they're not giving them enough time and different things that go into that. So they're trying to, state's thinking that and looking at it. Again, this is kind of what we talked about before. Our Educate West Virginia is our Global 21. And this just tells you, this is a breakdown by each individual area, each individual concentration. Accounting, game development, information management. And then the positive placement, again, that's where we're putting kids. Now that information is taking into consideration not last year's class, but the class before that. If you could
What
look
do
at
you
that.
mean by positive placement? In a job after they left the vocational?
Correct. That's just any job, I believe. And whether they're in a job or in their field, which is the next category, jobs in their field, we had 60% placed in their field. And we had another, well, if you can make it out now through there, that tells you each individual, like right there in information management, if you go all the way over there, we had one person, they got a job in their field. So that's 100% placement right there. And we had, for automotive technology, we had 5 people and 4 of them got jobs in their field right there. So 4 out of 5 on that. And if you look at carpentry, we had 11, we had 8 people got a job in the building trades industry. everybody follow me on that? 7 out of 10 for welding. Again, our 3 top programs are automotive, welding, and building construction. Now, I will say this year that we had an increase in our electrical technology. We have 20-some kids in there now, but we only have 1 completed, and I can cover that in a minute. Continuing education in field, those are kids that, again, are pursuing a degree in what their CTE concentration was. Usually you have more of that in your business and stuff, business area. And also we had several kids that went in the animal, in the VOAG, went on to get some, they're in college for VOAG and stuff.
I think you've walked me through this before, I just want to make sure this is not 12-13 data, this is.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. This information, this data right here is based on the class of 2012. And you're required by the state and on your LEA to, for 1 year. You go back for 1 year and you're rated on your, I believe that's what the proficiency standards. I can't swear to it, and I apologize for not knowing all that, but you try to call up there and get people, it's tough. If you don't know, they've downsized up there, and which you probably know, Ms. Lucas, but they've really cut back at the state level, and they got, you know, 1 person doing 4 or 5 people's jobs now, so but they're good to work with you. They really do a great job. Sherry Nash and all those people up there, Ron Grimes and them, they're very helpful when you, anytime that you want any information. And that's who compiles all this, Sherry Nash and Ron.
Now, Mr. Christian, when will the, this year's data come?
Okay, well, that comes at the end of the year too.
Okay, it
Right.
will not come out till the end
Right.
of this school year?
Right, that's our LEA plan,
Okay,
we're correct.
all right.
Now, what goes on at the end of this year for our kids will be put in their work keys and their Educate West Virginia, their, you know, the 3 phases of their hands-on, their practical, or their written test, and then also their resume and interview. All that goes into, compiled into, and then that data is,
Comes out.
right.
Okay.
But basically, that's where we are with last year's stuff and our testing data from last year. Again, 83 completers out of 119. And it may have, I really think it may have only been 110 or 11 because we had some kids that may have moved there on us. But the exciting thing is folks, is the work keys. That's really good. And that's what employers want. They want to see that, and they want to see that Educate West Virginia. And the last little thing I put together is where we are this year. If you have any more questions on that, I'll try to answer for you. But this is broken down by our programs this year, and not in any particular order. And I put our potential completers by concentration, and then the total number of students that those teachers work with. Now, that doesn't always mean everybody's going to be in CTE, because what happens is we have our exploration program. I don't know if you're all familiar with that, where it's 6 weeks. The kids spend 6 weeks in every concentration.
So those kids are figured into these numbers,
Yes, yeah. Correct. Now, I took the AA, our AA, I didn't put that in there.
And your completers would be your graduating students.
If everybody was a completer and they passed all phases of the requirements as a completer, we would have 100 kids, potentially have 100 kids graduate from our CTE program this year.
Explain to me what the different potential completers, I mean, total number of students would be the total number of students that take graphic design classes, the 48?
That teacher comes in contact with right there.
The 48.
She has 48, she works with 48 kids during the day.
Okay. But the potential completers, how does that differ from? the
Well,
total
they're in,
number?
well, because to be a completer, you're in your third and fourth year of the program, you know.
More like
yeah.
that's their major or field?
Correct.
Is that what that
Mhm.
means? I'm just trying to see the difference between these two.
You can be a completer as a junior too, if you complete all the work. I think that happened, I think Cole was a completer as a junior. We have a few that do that.
You have 4 cores is what they're talking about.
Right.
You take a core as a sophomore, a core as a junior, you can be a completer. There's 4 cores you have to take to be a completer.
So you would either be a junior or a senior?
Yes.
Correct. You don't necessarily have to,
Okay.
but the majority are seniors. Again, don't be misled, like information management, you know, that's, I mean, a lot of those kids they're on the professional pathways. You have to select skilled or professional. But that's where we are. Again, we're just getting started. Those numbers can fluctuate, obviously. But, you know, our CTE staff is in contact with a lot of kids at our school, and they do a great job. They truly do. They're good. And we have a new teacher this year in graphic design, Jessie Smith. She's coming to us from the newspaper. She's already done a ton of stuff already for us, for a lot of teachers. I mean, her board's full to do things, you know, in there. She's really busy. She's doing a great job. She's learning all the stuff that's involved. Again, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of things that go with it, as you all know. But our biggest programs are, again, auto and building construction and welding technology. And hopefully, one of these days, electrical will be back up there.
Do they have to be a sophomore to enroll?
Well, most sophomores start with the exploration. That's where we put most sophomores.
So they rotate.
They rotate around. They go through all, there's actually, you pick your 4 rotations, am I correct, Mr. Snyder? And I didn't tell you the truth, it's 9 weeks that they're in there. So it kind of throws things off balance a little bit, because we are on a 6-week schedule. But they select 4 areas that they want in the skill pathway. They have an opportunity to select 4, and that's their rotation.
Freshmen are not. in
Freshmen,
this.
no, are not, yeah, no, ma'am, they're not.
Are we going part of the EDGE credits?
Edge credits are still out there, yes, they are. It's, they're trying to, again, that's what our consortium's all about, our Southeastern Consortium that we're in with Southern. And I haven't got any info on that since, you know, we were supposed to meet at Logan at the end of the year in June, and it got canceled. And I haven't heard one peep from any of them. Now, I've talked to Bill Cook, Cook's his last name, isn't it? He's in charge of Southern over there, but I talk to him occasionally, but he said, I haven't heard anything from him either. Of course, he works for Ms. Palmer, but I don't know where they are with that, but that's part of us trying to blend all that together, and I don't know if it's taking a different direction or what.
The completers, they are getting their EDGE credits.
So, yeah, like welding has EDGE credits, and
Building construction.
building construction, and
Auto mechanics, don't they get like 43?
I don't know if auto has it or not. I know information management does, information systems have it. And then mostly it's our sciences as well. And the problem with those credits transferring, what it is basically you take these classes in high school and you can get them waived in college, you can get college credit for them. But to meet the criteria, you have to, the instructor has to have a master's degree in that subject. And that's where they run into issues.
Why they can't get college credit.
Right. Again, that's why all this consortium's been brought about, to try to blend that all together and try to maybe do away with that. But again, what's happening is the colleges are, this is my opinion, is they'll lose a lot of money. If kids are getting all these credits before they come to college, where are they gonna make their money?
The way it was explained to me some time ago, these kids will go into community college first and then transfer to a four-year school. Those credits will follow right out of high school. So that's how it's been
But
explained. to me.
initially, not all colleges would accept you as credit, that's where it first came
Right.
about. So the consortium developed to say, you know, some colleges are providing credit for some courses, some are not, so let's make ourselves consistent throughout. So the consortium, as Larry said, set up, and that was one of the things they talked about first of all, is we put the community college first, and the four-year college is making it fun because it's being accredited through an official college that has accreditation rights, I guess.
I guess my question is, I know if you go to Ben Franklin or Carter in Kanawha County and complete welding or building construction, you get 43 hours. Then you go to a community college and take your 7 core classes and you have an associate degree. And my question is that same thing going on
That's part of what they're trying to make it like that, so that if I, wherever I plug myself into, that they accept that, you know what I mean? That instead of repeating classes and saying, well, no, you took it over here at Ben Franklin, we're not gonna accept that. They have a universal curriculum that says if you show this, that you've completed this and this and this, this is where you start in our program. And they waive all that. That's basically kind of what they're trying to do. But it gets hard to do, I guess, when you get outside of the trade field. I mean, you know, it's like a nursing program at one place is not compatible to, you know, again, it's still all up in the air. I don't know, a lot of good eating goes on with those things, but
Hey, look at me.
That was the whole objective of the EDGE credits, because you had, when I went through school, you had different programs in every county, and they didn't play well together, and they came up to EDGE credits, supposedly it would work all through the state.
And that's another thing, that like if a kid will transfer from Lincoln County to, say, Wyoming County, they could look at where he was at, if he was a welder, and say, you know, he's done this, this, and this is where he would be in our program. Again, I don't know where they're moving to with that, but I know, Dr. D'Antoni, she's big on it. And there's some bad words that didn't, what was the word that one group was using, the other one didn't like, or I can't remember what it was, but they didn't like Southern didn't like to use it. Articulation, that's what it was. They couldn't come to terms on the word articulation, so I don't know, that's where we're at.
We have never had anybody with a master's degree teaching health and science over there, have we?
Science, maybe, I don't know.
Science probably, but you talk about like the health sciences?
Right, to get
CTE?
into nursing.
I don't know.
Joint health.
No, I don't think she does. Again, Carol, my understanding is that if a student would leave Lincoln County High School, enroll in, let's say, Southern Community College for a semester even, and then decide to transfer to Marshall University, that those credits would follow the student to Marshall. But that was one way to guarantee that those EDGE credits would be counted at a four-year institution. But that was the only way that I can recall it would work.
And that's to keep the colleges, I guess, to keep the colleges kind of in tune with what's going on also. They have to go from the community college to the four-year colleges. So that's the marriage between the high school curriculum and that community college curriculum. Because you have to go from the high school to a community college and then to a four-year college.
It just kind of surprises me. Southern puts out so many nurses and Southern Community College. And here we have a branch of Southern over there, and we don't have anybody with a master's degree to help these kids along, to get them a head start. To me, what do they get out of that class?
I think they did some EMT training, some phlebotomy that they did 1 year, I think. Phlebotomy, or something else.
Medical terms, as I know that's
Medical
big.
terminology, yeah.
That's
about it.
That's kind of what it is.
Any other questions?
I just want to give you a little bit of what's going on over there right now for us at the beginning of the year. And all of our VOAGs got they got the FFA convention coming up. I don't know, it might be in Minnesota or somewhere, taking some students out there, but the big one is, and Ms. Butler wasn't there today, and the gentleman, Jack Browning, approached me Friday, and he talked to Mr. Snyder too about, they're gonna be building an animal barn, they're gonna be building a barn down here at the fairgrounds. And he's wanting us to get involved. And personally, we don't have one, and I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, that they try to have a sheep or something out there in the back, and that's a disaster. And there's some rabbits out there, and I'm sure y'all may have got some calls on that, but it's just not working. It's just not feasible to have that with the, the mice and those types of things out there. There's no reason that we shouldn't be working or even building a barn over there somewhere. I mean, we got the area, but I mean, he's got the grant money for it, and all he wants is just us to use it. And I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't, other than, obviously the gap from there to there is probably the hindrance that I can see.
You mean building it at the fairground versus building something on the school campus?
Correct.
Because of the situation, as you said, that we had.
Yes, ma'am.
With it being too close.
Well, we had a
The
sheep.
shed.
We had a sheep back there.
And a hog.
Yeah, no, I wasn't around for the hog part,
They went a hog.
but, I mean, it's right there, it's like having one almost in your living room,
Yeah,
but,
it wasn't pleasant.
I think the greenhouses are awesome right there, that's a great facility right there, and she's trying to bring back the aquaculture, she's starting that again. Again, the pumps kept messing up on them, so she's supposed to be getting a new pump. But for us to have VOAG and we got plant or animal science, I don't understand, we don't have any, we got 2 rabbits and did have a sheep, but it got out of there. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know, but it wasn't. But that's just an opportunity for our kids. Again, it's down there, that's the only obstacle, I think, guys. Y'all probably know that. And how do we get those kids down there and all that? But I mean, and he's wanting to use it like our kids taking their animals and showing them at Cabell County Fair. We could have our own. They make sorghum, don't we? We're getting ready to make sorghum and that type of thing. If you haven't seen, we got the field of corn out there. And I'm sure that's just getting close to be ready to bring in. Auto Tech, Jerry's got some deal in the works. It's nothing set in stone yet about working on these General Hybrid electric cars. And teaching kids how to have that certification as well. That would be something that would be, that may be the wave of the future. But it hadn't come through yet, so that's something that's going to just again add to their resume, another certification that they can do. And as you all, if anybody's ever had their car worked on, it's not a bad field. It's nice pay. Our game design, Tim Elliott does a great job with that. He's been approved, our school, our site over there has been approved for A+ and Cisco certification. That's major. That's what's everybody's certified in, and that's one of the major.
Did he just complete that?
Yes, ma'am. That just came through here in the last probably month or so. And he also got an opportunity to build a robotic ring or robotic whatever he called it. Well, it's like a big, where you can have contests and different things with robotics, and he's building that program up. That's a pretty neat thing too. That was one of the things I went and watched down at the vocational skills USA thing. That was pretty. Our kids, they have to build their own robots, and we'll be able to host tournaments. And this VEX thing, that's one of the big tournaments. He said is that VEX competition. Our health science, they're getting ready to do the blood drive on the 17th at the school there, and we'll be working the flu shot again with the health department, the clinic over there. Building construction, I think this is good right here. Shane started a beginning masonry class. It's just one period a day, but hopefully we can build that up. That's something we can, we want to build CTE, that'd be something we could maybe expand a little bit on, is making it a double block period and give them just another level on their certification. It's above and beyond what's part of, basic block and bricklaying is part of the curriculum in building construction, but this is a step above, and it gives us that opportunity there. So Shane's taking that on, and I think I saw about 8 or 10 kids in there the other day. I know, there was 8. I'm pretty sure 8, at least 8. But this was at the beginning, so I don't know if anybody's been added to it or not. Welding, this is exciting here. Mr. Spinaglia, Terry got a school improvement grant, and he's got 4 virtual welders. Man, those things are really neat. It'll be a good recruiting tool for us too. But basically, you weld. I did one over at not Ben Franklin, but over at Boone County, and you can do the whole welding and all the different welds, and you got to wear the. Man, you got to do it all, but you don't use the rod. It's going to save money on materials and stuff too. So I thought that'd be a great recruiting tool. We could take those around to some middle schools, let those kids play with them a little bit. They can do so many different things. It's just be a great asset to our welding program for sure. Which he does a great job anyway. But man, it'd just save a lot of money too in the long run, really. But again, I think the grant was like a $20,000 grant or something, $19,000 grant. But he was talking to me today about they're wanting to maybe go around and demonstrate them. And I know Rick, I can't think of Rick's last name, Gillum. He's one of the NCCER guys. That's the national certifications that our tradespeople have to be certified in. Talking about Terry going to demonstrate and being a representative, so that would be good. That'd be good for us. Would get us out there in the public eye a little bit. The ROTC, they have what they call the Raider competition. That's, I don't know, all that stuff you see when you go into school over there on the left. That's part of their training, is that, and they'll have about 15 to 18 schools come in, and they have a big competition on that obstacle course and different running events, and they're over there all day from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, competing for that, and it's pretty nice. And they're working with, I guess there's some kind of shooting or rifle shooting over at Mud River. They're working with the county commission on that, just as community service to help them with targets and run stuff back and forth, which is good publicity. And then they also have a veterans essay contest. I thought this was pretty neat. He requires them to go out and interview a vet and write an essay about it, and hopefully invite those veterans to our Veterans Day celebration on November the 6th. And they give an award, I think. He gives something, some type of award for the best essay. But I think that's good. Kids get out and talk to some vets and see what it's like. Hopefully get them into our school. Desktop posting, Vicki, y'all know Vicki, she's working, doing a lot of work, she said, for a lot of local businesses. And one of the things she said she was doing was she's making a book for the alumni from Hamlin High School, from the class of 1922 to 1963 or 8. I might put that on there, 68 maybe. But anyway, what it is they have everybody's address, email address, contact information, and they put it in the book. And they had that at St. Albans. We had one, and my goodness, I mean, there's every year, they had it up until, now. And it's really nice, nice piece of material to have, really, when you want to ask people for money.
You can think of it, and she's interested. I have a Hamlin High yearbook from the 1920s that I found in my library. I didn't know I had.
She would probably be interested in that.
Okay.
I don't know where she's collecting all her information
Yeah, I don't know what
from.
that is, but I ran across it. I'll try to mention it to her.
I thought that was pretty neat right there. Our Pro Start, they're getting ready to go this weekend to they're having a big cook-off down there. They're gonna get involved in that at the Heritage Park. There was a big piece in the paper about it. That's coming up. They're gonna be involved in that. They're gonna have them a tent, and they're gonna try to win something out of that, put their kids in that. Graphic arts we talked about, she's done a ton of work for school, she's done a ton of work for me, for football over there. Putting making me some goal charts and different things that I use in the program. She's been right there and never batted an eye or said no for anything. And then our electrical technology, all he had for me was that all his kids passed the safety test on the first time. He said it took, last year he said it took him 5 or 6 times for them all to pass with 100%. Because you got to pass with 100%. He said all 22 kids passed the first time with 100%. And he's excited. I think he's a little more motivated this year because he said the kids are a lot better, and I guess they're more interested in it. Of course, he has 20-some new kids. So that's where we are at CTE at the high school. I'm sure I missed something. But it's a great program, and I'd like to see HVAC over there. I think we talked about that last time. I don't know how we get it done. Just takes money and space. All that's limited, we know that.
Would there be a space for them if we could get that program in?
I think they could share the electrical facility, don't you? The classroom, if we had HVAC. I'm not sure, because I
If you use the
don't.
mezzanine up on top, if you use that as a classroom, you probably could. I don't think we should do that option. That mezzanine space is huge up there. It's just that storage, right? It's full storage.
There's such a need for that I hate to see our kids not be offered that opportunity.
Yes, there's a big industry for that out there, for sure.
One of the greatest needs, I think, that we have in this county, small engine repair. It's so difficult to get something repaired. You have to do it yourself, basically. So, seems to me like that would be a great program to offer.
That may, Larry, may just be an additional certification in the auto. Yeah, possibly. Now, I'd have to look through the curriculum on that. But, I encourage you to go to the state website, folks, and you can go to CTE. You can click on there, and man, you can spend all kinds of time surfing through that and seeing what they offer and what's going on. It's huge, it's huge, you all know that. I mean, it's interesting too. But
I will say that we had a group in that did a monitoring this past week for our special education department. There were people from, the State Department as well as other counties. Sometimes we need to see what we have through other people's eyes, and they were so complimentary of the CTE program that we have. I know they interviewed Mr. Cremines and a couple of general ed teachers and special ed teachers, but they were very impressed with the amount of students that we have with disabilities in our CTE programs, and that is one of the components that they look at and look for to see if we make our curriculum, everything that we have, available to students with disabilities. And, the report, as I said, it was quite complimentary of what we do have at Lincoln County High School. And sometimes, we can be critical of because we want to always be better. We always want to do more. We want, it to be the best. But seeing what we do have through some other people's eyes, I thought was quite positive. And I felt good about what they saw and what they had to say about the programs that we have there.
well, I included on this, LEA this time, I added iWorks program. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's basically what that is, that it allows teachers that in the CTE curriculum to accommodate learning needs with children that need it. And it modifies the program, and it allows them to, just like any other IEP kind of would, to, in a regular classroom, it helps them do this in the trades, in the CTE program. Not just see any program actually could use it, but we're using it in the CTE if need be. And we can do a lot of modifications that way, which will be really good for the student. If we, you get a kid that can't read, but my gosh, I mean, how many kids would know you can't read, but they could take an engine apart and put it back together? And this gives them an opportunity to play to their strengths, and which is really good. Just like it would, if they were a great player or anything. And you were asking about a master's, it came to my head just now that Tim Elliott, our electrical or electronics guy, he's got a master's, and he's working on his doctorate right now, as a matter of fact. So he may be the highest qualified, the highest degree in the CTE program. He's pretty sharp.
Any question you want to?
No, I have something to say, though. I talked to some of the instructors over there, and they are really pleased with how you are helping them and checking on them to help keep that program.
Well, I have some ideas. Again, they're still spoon feeding me. Of course, Jerry's he's a veteran over there. Jerry knows it all. He's done a great job. He helps me out tremendously, and all of them do. Tim, and again, he's sharp. He does a great job. They all have experience. And I'm learning, and there's a lot I'd like to do, but we're working on it. I'm still trying to get them to write an article for the newspaper. Not necessarily an article, but just like a CTE corner, you know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking that.
Let people know.
Do we have companies that we're partnering with to help place our students as they graduate?
Well, that's usually what your what's it called, Mr. Snyder, your committee, not council, what's it called, advisory council?
Advisory council.
Your advisory council, each curriculum in each program has an advisory council. And I think it's
School
made up
business
of
partners
five.
too. Aren't you required to have school business partners still?
That's part of your advisory council. You
Oh,
have
that's
people in the
all part of it.
industry, people in the business, average lay people,
There's-
consist of different folks.
Is it a 7-member or a 5-member?
I think it's a 7-member, I think.
And there has to be, you know, an educator, and whatever your field is, there has to be at least two in that field. And those, we have to have a report on that coming up, so that's probably in the next month. And whenever our second month report's due, we have to run that for CTE as well.
What's the status of our FFA building?
I know I see the gravels out there and the forms laid for, they haven't poured any flooring or anything like that, no floor.
Anything else? We appreciate it, Mr. Christian.
Thank you.